Welcome to Friday Morning Dharma on September 27th. Let's go ahead and settle into a comfortable meditation posture. Please take care to ensure that your spine is straight and relaxed. If you haven't already done so, please go ahead and softly close your eyes. And to begin, I'd like you to please bring your awareness to the exhalation of your breath. And very gently, allow your exhalation to be just a bit longer and a bit more pronounced than your inhalation. Please feel free to experiment with pausing briefly at the bottom of each exhalation. Please redirect your awareness once again and become aware of the crown of your head, your scalp in particular. And I'd like you to allow at once all of the tiny muscles and nerves that support your scalp to become loose and completely relaxed. The tiny muscles and nerves at the top of your scalp, the tiny muscles and nerves at the back of your scalp, the tiny muscles and nerves at the sides of your scalp. Just allow all of these tiny muscles and nerves to at once release and become loose and deeply, deeply relaxed. Please allow the tiny muscles and nerves across your forehead, the tiny muscles that support your eyebrows, and all of the muscles in your face to become soft and completely relaxed. Your facial muscles become so soft and relaxed that it might feel as though the pores of your skin are opening up now. Your mind, your mind starts to relax as your body is starting to relax. And for the remainder of our meditation this morning, I would invite you to bring your awareness not only to the words that you hear, but also to the silent gaps in between the words and in between the sentences. Please allow, please allow the tiny muscles that support your jaw to become soft and relaxed. Just allow any tension that you might be carrying in your jaw to dissipate. to drain away completely, to dissolve into empty space, to dissolve into space like emptiness. Your jaw may start to feel a bit heavier now, and it takes a gentle and deliberate effort to keep your jaw from dropping open. Please allow the muscles in your neck and your throat to become soft and relaxed, as well as the muscles in your shoulders. Allow your shoulders to settle and to rest, to become soft and relaxed. And as your shoulders settle and rest, they may start to feel a bit heavier now. This causes them to drop down into a natural, comfortable position. There is a subtle lengthening of your neck and a subtle lengthening of your spine. Please allow the muscles in your arms, elbows, forearms, wrists, hands, and fingers to each become completely soft and completely relaxed. And your hands now might feel a bit warmer and heavier as they rest in your lap. And your mind relaxes as your body relaxes. And continue to be aware of the silent gaps. The muscles in your chest, the muscles in your chest become soft and relaxed. And your lungs are now able to perform perfectly and without effort their natural function of breathing. The muscles in your abdomen, and likewise all of the muscles in your back, all of the muscles that support your shoulder blades and your spine. Allow these muscle sets to settle and to rest, to become soft and relaxed as you drop deeper and deeper on down. And let yourself go. The muscles in your hips and your pelvic area become soft and relaxed, as well as the muscles in your legs, knees, calves, ankles, feet, and toes. One by one, these muscle sets become completely soft and completely relaxed. The soles of your feet, even the muscles and nerves in the soles of your feet, even the tiny muscles and nerves at the tips of your toes, even your bodily fluids, even the marrow in your bones, even the cells that comprise the marrow in your bones, even the spaces in between the cells that comprise the marrow in your bones are resting and relaxed. Your body is centered and settled. You're in a state of perfect equilibrium. Your mind relaxes completely now as your body is completely relaxed. And let yourself go. Complete, permanent liberation will result when you awaken to this confused notion of self and other. So let yourself go. Please gently return your awareness to the spaces in between the cells that comprise the marrow in your bones, and allow your awareness to rest in this space. Please contemplate the questions. Do these spaces constitute body? Do they constitute absence of body? The answer is yes and no. Your body is not these spaces, and your body is not separate from these spaces. Now, please redirect your awareness once again. Become aware again of this entity we've agreed to label physical body. Become aware again of bones, of blood, of muscle tissue, internal organs, and so forth as you start to deepen your breath. Taking deeper and deeper breaths, become aware again of the garments of clothing resting on the surface of physical body. Become aware again of your surroundings inside the room that you're occupying. Become aware again of the world that exists outside of the room that you're occupying. Become aware again of clouds, of blue sky beyond the clouds, of outer space beyond the blue sky. And you can know, of course, that your body is not these phenomena, nor is it separate from these phenomena. We dedicate all of the merit from this morning's meditation and Dharma talk to world peace. May all beings without exception be completely and permanently free from all forms of emotional and physical suffering. May all beings without exception soon come to enjoy a state of complete and perfect fearlessness. May all beings without exception be happy, peaceful, contented, and free. And may we as meditators always be aware of the silent gaps. Completely fill up your belly and lungs with air. And when you're ready, you can open your eyes and bring your meditation to an end. Welcome back, everyone. So I hope that meditation was a meaningful experience for you. Um, I wanted for us to get down and try to get within and try to rest our awareness in those spaces, that space. Um, because doing so can bring about some beneficial insights to the nature of the body. Um, I mean, I find that meditation to be very powerful in terms of identifying the fact that the body has parts, and those parts have parts, and those parts have parts. And pretty soon you get to the spaces in between the parts. The spaces are parts of the body, aren't they? Maybe. Anyways, whether they are or not, it's kind of at some level up to you. Um, but through this practice, we start to hopefully get an experience of the fact that our body is not this hard and fast intrinsic entity. Yeah, it's not this sort of like autonomous, independent entity. Yeah, it's more subtle than that. It's more subtle. It's parts and parts of parts and spaces in between parts. Yet we grasp so strongly at this entity, body, my body, as though it is independent and autonomous. And we're kind of oblivious to the fact that it's comprised of parts. Why is that important? I mean, that's a really valuable, important insight to be had in its own respect, period. And when we start to think about a self, as we start to think about a sense of self and start to deconstruct sense of self, body is a big part. I mean, a body is the body is a big part of this entity that we refer to as me, as self. And if body starts to become more vague, like through this meditation and other practices, we might be, I used to be very clear on this thing called body, but now I'm not so sure. It's starting to get a little fuzzy around the edges. Um, when that examination occurs, because body is so closely related or such an integral part of this entity we refer to as self, which we're in the process of going through and negating an inherently existing self, a recognition of the vagueness, if you will, of physical body is beneficial. Yeah, it starts sort of like the deconstruction, or it can aid in the deconstruction of self. So, more from Training in Tenderness by Zigar Kongtrul. Um, you will you will remember that we were going through the chapter Clinging to the Self, the Root of All Impediments. Again, why is this? Why is it so important to recognize the illusory nature of self? Because if this self if we are able to negate this entity that we are referring to as an inherently existing self, as a truly existing self, if we can negate that, and I was thinking about this before, we might use the word invalidate synonymously with negate. And we also used a definition from some very proper sounding British dictionary company um, of to negate is to basically, I'm paraphrasing here, but it's basically demonstrate that something is exactly the opposite of what we thought it was. Yeah. We think that our sense of self is an inherently existing entity, that there's something there. By negating that, we demonstrate that the opposite is true. What defines self and all other phenomena is an absence of an inherently existing self. The absence of any inherent or intrinsic properties or qualities, that absence is what defines the self. It's not inherently existing, independently existing, autonomously existing. It's the absence of those things that defines it, a meaningful absence. Okay, and we'll just, wow, in the 2 minutes we have left, I'll read a paragraph from Sigar Kongtrul that addresses this very thing. The illusory self with which we identify has three important characteristics. First of all, it is singular. And please include these contemplations in your arsenal of contemplations about, what exactly is this self that I identify with so closely, that basically dictates everything I do, think, feel, why I regard things as being pleasant or unpleasant, favorable or unfavorable. At the core of it is self dictating those perceptions and those perceptions and those conclusions, those conceptual conclusions. Okay. The illusory self with which we identify has three important characteristics. First of all, we regard it to be singular. For example, when you go into a train station to buy one ticket, Sigar Kongtrul is training in England. That's where his main center is. So he uses examples like a train ticket, things that we Americans can't really identify with. It's kind of more of a European. Anyways, you get the idea, right? Let's think about when you go to the movie theater to buy one ticket. For example, when you go to a movie theater, you buy one ticket. Even though you're made of many parts, you don't think of yourself as a plural. When you refer to yourself, you refer to a single person, me. Is that true in your experience? Examine that. Examine that, how you regard yourself, how you regard me. Is it singular? Second, the illusory self we regard to be unchanging. Even though the body continually changes and the mind stream or consciousness never remains the same for an instant, we have an unconscious belief in an underlying self that doesn't change. Is that true for you? Your sense of self? Yeah, think about it. I mean, we know that, here, Sigar Kongtrul goes on. He says, here he writes, we think that the me living now is essentially the same me who was born decades ago, and that we will be the same me on our deathbed. I mean, we know that the body is decomposed, and we know that the mind has changed as a result of having different experiences. Yet at a deeper level, I think most of us believe that there is like a foundational self. Yeah, the kind of the mind changing as a result of experiences, and the body changing as a result of parts wearing out. or growing in size or decreasing in size. Yeah. We acknowledge that those are phenomena that really happen. Yet still, Zigar Contral is proposing there is still an essential self that is unchanging. The body changes, the mind changes, yet somewhere most of us regard there to be an unchanging, essential, foundational, intrinsic self. Examine that one too. Examine in your own experience how you relate to yourself. Finally, we project a self that is autonomous. We regard a self, a sense of self that is autonomous. This means that it exists objectively on its own, independent of causes and conditions. We cling to a self that somehow exists separately from the rest of the world. Just going back to the previous sentence. Finally, we project a self that is autonomous. This means that it exists objectively on its own, independent of causes and conditions. That's what we think. That's sort of how we live our lives going through, is it, we don't stop and think, oh, this self that I perceive is a result of various causes and conditions. It's a result of dependent origination. We don't have that experience. Most of us don't have that recognition. We just regard it to be autonomous, independent, not related to anything else. So, good news is that when we awaken to the illusion of an inherently, autonomously, independently existing self and a singular self, when we awaken to that illusion, all of our suffering will end. That's the good news. The maybe less than good news, or we'll call it the challenging news, is awakening to that illusion is the most difficult awakening to happen, right? Because we've spent every single waking moment throughout our entire life reinforcing the notion or the experience of an independent, intrinsic, inherently existing sense of self. Just one realization is needed, the realization that an inherently existing self is an illusion. On the other hand, it's the most challenging realization to have. And may we spend the rest of our lives evolving and trying to awaken to this illusion. I think that's the purpose of this human experience that we're having. So, a lot there. Thank you for your interest in meditation and training the mind. Thank you for your interest in Dharma. Have a wonderful day and a wonderful weekend.
Thank you, Matt. Thank you. Bye.
You're welcome, everybody. Bye-bye.